For 44 years, Memorial Stadium was home to the Baltimore Colts. It was demolished in 1999, but the memory of the Colts and what they meant to Baltimore will last forever.
When you look back on your career, all the different stadiums that both of you have played in, what distinguishing characteristics, Lenny, does this stadium have here?
Not as much the structure or the physical plan itself, the people. There was a connectiveness. Even if you would go into communities, were kind of like isolated. But man, when they got in the stand, passing liquor bottles among each other, you know, and whatever, and sandwiches, you know, that's the impact. And when you get a relationship with a person, man, that carries, it goes to the root of what really all of us are all about anyways, man. It's about relationships.
I don't think it'll ever happen again, Steve. I don't think it'll ever happen. The kind of camaraderie that the fans and the players had, it was a very special time here.
Yeah. The Colts were Baltimore's first major league franchise, and with their 4 NFL championships, they earned the undying affection of their fans.
Baltimore at that point in time, and before that, always had an inferiority complex, I thought. They always felt that they were the city between Washington, Philadelphia, and New York.
And the Colts instantly made the city big league, at least in the eyes of the people. And they were indebted to the team for doing that.
The players were your neighbors. They finished playing the last game on a Sunday, and next day, on Monday, John Unitas was working down Bethlehem Steel next to you. And you go to the corner tavern, there could be Gino Marchetti there.
The people there got to know you. You weren't just a number. They got to know you personally. And I know I'm the same way. If I meet somebody and I see him play, well, I'll say, well, geez, I know him. Yeah, I feel a closeness. And I think that's what happened in Baltimore.
They invite you to their weddings. In fact, Alan Amici, one time, they invited him to be one of the pallbearers at a funeral for a former Colt fan.
Tom, do you remember any of the specific fans? I mean, they used to have a guy up there, I don't know whether the big wheel and the spoke. C-O!
Every year we played here, every game it was announced 60,243 seats sold out. And, you know, the only way you could get to the bathroom is they'd pass you down on their arms, and they'd pass you back up.
But it was a homey, beautiful stadium. You know, it didn't have these things they call luxury boxes, none of that kind of stuff. Didn't have fine restaurants and all that. It just was a stadium. You go sit in your seat, scream, holler, and had fun.
But Lombardi used to call this, what he had expressed, the world's largest outdoor insane asylum. Yeah.
Everybody hated to play in the stadium. And especially get down that closed end when the fans are down there. I'm telling you, when you came out of that tunnel and you heard the roar of that crowd, I'm guarantee you, if you took a look at every one of the ball players that came out, there was tears coming down their eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was such an emotional high.
That one colt they called Dixie, that whenever we scored a touchdown, that horse would take off and circle the field.
John Unitas said, we're going to run that white horse to death. Every time we would score, the horse would run all the way around the stadium, and the horse was panting.
I've never seen spirit that existed in any city as it does here in Baltimore.
The Colts were one of the first pro teams to have its own band and fight song. They were the first to have a cheerleading squad, and they had dozens of fan clubs known as Colt Corrals in the Baltimore area. With John Unitas at quarterback from 1957 through 1971, the Colts never had a losing season, and their home winning percentage was the best in football. The Colts wrote a legend in the Dusty Bowl that was Memorial Stadium.
A magnificent pass pattern with Johnny.
The team left Baltimore in 1984, but the fans never let go. They still were embracing the Colts in 1998 at the 40th anniversary of their first World Championship.
Hello, Lenny. Ben, how you doing? I'm glad to see you, my man. Hey,
2,000 people stood in line for 3 hours to once again pay tribute to their heroes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure. Many a time, Ordell Bracey and I talk about this, and we say, you know how lucky we are that we played in Baltimore? Because if we hadn't played in some other city, we'd all be gone. Here, we're still big fish in a small pond.
I still get a lot of fan mail from Baltimore, and they'll always say one thing. I never got to see you play, but my father used to tell me about you all the time. I was very happy in Baltimore, and to be able to play your whole career in one city was something to be proud of.
Gino Marchetti had many great days at Memorial Stadium. But ironically, his clearest memory is that of a foggy day in 1964 when he was honored at one of his final games.
A guy named Joe Campanella asked me, what kind of car you want? I said, Joe, I don't want a car. I can buy a car. I says, I'd really love to see my dad come back and watch me play. My father was an Italian guy from the old country, hated football, never seen me play a game in his life. If he wouldn't drive 40 miles from Antioch to San Francisco to see me play, you know, he sure ain't gonna take a plane and fly 3,000 miles. But anyway, he came. And God, I tell you, I was so happy. I cried.
Everybody spoke here tonight about the thrills I've given them. But nobody's ever said the thrills that I've had on this football field for 13 years. I appreciate it.
My father looked at me and he said, you know, says, maybe you did know how to play football. So that, you know, when that stadium goes down, you know, that goes with it.
I know every time I ride past, I stop to look over there. I scored a touchdown in the '59 championship game, intercepted a pass, ran it back for a touchdown at the left end zone. I went there the last time I was there in Baltimore and sit down on that exact spot where I scored the touchdown. I never will forget that.
They call her the gray old lady of 33rd Street, and I'm going to miss her. You took your children, you know, people eventually started taking their grandchildren there. Everybody felt like they owned a part of her. She was ours. She was our old lady, but she was ours.
There's the gun at the end of the game, and the Colts are well